Hello everybody out there and welcome to this very special Gunnell production. Today I'm going to the Golden Spike 150th celebration at the Whippany Railway Museum. I suppose you out there are wondering, what the hell is a Golden Spike? Well, I'll tell you. On May 10th, 1869, in the Utah Territory at Promontory Point, the first transcontinental railroad was completed. Two railroads constructed it, the Union Pacific working west and the Central Pacific working east. When it was finally completed, one train from the Central Pacific and another train from the Union Pacific met at Promontory Point. The Union Pacific train was pulled by their locomotive 119, while the Central Pacific was pulled by their locomotive named Jupiter. It was a very joyful celebration. Now freight and passengers could travel across the country in just under a week, all by rail. However, it was later decided by both the Central Pacific, later Southern Pacific, and the Union Pacific to change their meeting place from Promontory Point to Ogden, Utah, since Promontory Point is a very remote area. In 1904, the Southern Pacific created the Loose End Cutoff, which bypassed Promontory Point and went right across the Great Salt Lake into Ogden. The reason for this was because the route over the Great Salt Lake was more direct than going over Promontory Point because of its steep grades and sharp curves. The line over Promontory Point was eventually ripped up for scrap. In the 50s, they decided to make the area on Promontory Point a historical park. Some track was relaid and replica engines of Jupiter and Union Pacific 119 were built. During the summer months, they often reenact the meeting of the two engines and the driving of the Golden Spike for visitors. In 1969, that was the 100th anniversary of the laying of the first transcontinental railroad in the Golden Spike, and a special train was run from New York all the way to Ogden. The most notable steam engine to pull the train was ex-nickel plate Berkshire 759. It pulled what was called the Golden Spike Centennial Limited. The 759 was also painted in bright blue colors to match its passenger cars. Me and my friend Taylor saw the 759 in person at Steamtown 2 summers ago. Of course, it didn't have that paint job then, but it was interesting to see the very engine to pull such a magnificent train. Now this year in 2019 is the 150th anniversary of the first transcontinental railroad. And they're having celebrations at different railway museums all over the country. The one I'm going to, as I said earlier, is in Whippany, New Jersey, where they're having track laying, demonstrations, some music, and of course the regular museum stuff they have there. And also a 45-minute round trip from Whippany to Roslyn. On that train, I'm going to be riding in a very special passenger car, the ex-Jersey Central Club car, Jersey Coast. A club car is a type of passenger car where the passengers can purchase food or drinks. The car is painted in the bright blue and cream of the Blue Comet. The Blue Comet was the Jersey Central's famous passenger train, which ran from Jersey City, New Jersey to Atlantic City, and it operated from 1929 to 1941. Now, the Jersey Coast was never operated on the Blue Comet. It was just restored to look like one, inside and out. It's interesting to note that the original 3 observation cars that did actually operate on the Blue Comet actually all survived. The observation car Balia is a part of a restaurant in Clinton, New Jersey along Interstate 78. Temple, which after being vandalized on a piece of track in South Plainfield for many years, is now in Tuckahoe, New Jersey on the Cape May seashore lines. And the DeVico, which is owned by the United Railroad Historical Society of New Jersey and is stored in Boonton, New Jersey, with 2 other Blue Comet cars. Well, that's enough of a history lesson for right now. Let's get this show on the road, or on the rails, so to speak.
Well, viewers, I finally made it. The Whippany Railway Museum located on the Morristown and Eries main line. Back in the day, this used to be the host to the Morris County Central, a tourist line that was opened up by Mr. Earl Gill. But the Morristown and Erie went up on the track charging had to move to an old Susquehanna piece of track where they suffered lots of financial losses and shut down. Thankfully, both the steam industry bought for the railway survived.
Locomotive 385 was built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1907. It operated on the Southern Railway and eventually was sold to the Virginia and Blue Ridge Railway. And after it was retired from there, it was purchased by Earl Guild for his Morris County Central Railroad. 385 is a 280 consolidation locomotive. It has 2 wheels in the front, 8 driving wheels, and no trailing wheels. 385 may have looked small from the outside, but from the cab, it looked pretty big.
These cars right here are called Comet cars. These were used on the Erie-Lackawanna commuter lines, running out of Hoboken. You can still see similar looking cars today on the New Jersey Transit, still in service, even though they're much newer than these. These were before the famous bi-level cars that you know today.
A little after 1 p.m., the Golden Spike Limited departed, bound for Roslyn.
But they used to have them in front of the train, right? The ones that you were pulling before,
I like
right?
how they remade these Union Pacific cars with names, from around New Jersey.
380, this one, 385. You run that one. This one, the one that you broke you were ringing the bell, and you blew the horn, that's a 385, that's the one that we were on.
Yes, the 385.
They said.
It's the 385 where they want to come leaving to go to Boston Top. What? Look, that was it could go across the track and there were no trains.
These are street cars.
Aside from being mostly about trains, the Whippany Railroad Museum also has a small section in the back of the museum dedicated to marine stuff. One thing that you will find interesting is that back in the days, the railroads that were on the Hudson River in New Jersey, such as the Jersey Central, Erie, and the Lackawanna, had ferry boats. They would bring passengers from New York to the Jersey side, where they would board the trains for all points west. They also had a small section on the Titanic, which everyone out there should know the story about that by now. I came from the back room to see that they were actually running the model railroad I had filmed earlier. On the bottom level, they were running a Union Pacific Big Boy, which is kind of appropriate since Union Pacific recently restored Big Boy 4014 back to active service to participate in a Golden Spike ceremony in Ogden, Utah. That right there is a cab car. Cab cars are used so trains can reverse direction without the engine having to run around the train. All the engineer simply has to do is to go from the locomotive to the cab car and drive the train in reverse. Right in front of the 385, they were doing a track work demonstration. Before they had machines like they do today, back in the day it took serious manual labor to fix railway tracks and to lay new ones. Ooh.
That's what I was just going to tell you.
Here's something you'll find interesting. Model trains that can run outdoors. This is G scale. And the railroad is technically called a garden railroad. These trains are weatherproof. Some manufacturers even make snow plows so the trains can really plow the snow off the track. Down the line from the track demonstration, I found some interesting equipment, including the Morristown and Erie rail bus, a speeder, and an odd-looking steam locomotive. This is a fireless loco. These locomotives were designed so they wouldn't have to need like a fire, like an actual firebox. It's still operated by steam, but not in a traditional way. It gets its steam from an outside source. Using a stationary boiler, it pumps the locomotive full of steam, and it can actually work for hours off that steam. But when the pressure starts to drop, it has to get recharged. Almost like when your phone is running down and you need a charger. But just think about that, but with steam. I then went back over to the Garden Railway where they had the Erie Mallet pulling a coal train. Mallet's a locomotive that have two sets of drive wheels. They are mostly used in mountainous territories, so they don't have to double head engines all the time for heavy trains.